Hello and welcome to the 2022 school year. For some of you who've already been here for a week learning online. For everybody else, you've had a big break. Here we are, officially week 3, and we're looking forward to another great year ahead. Firstly, I'd like to start by acknowledging the traditional owners of the beautiful lands where our school and community live, and that's the Gubbi Gubbi people. We pay our respect to elders past, present and emerging, for they hold the memories, traditions, the culture and the hopes of Aboriginal and Torres Strait Islanders across this region. Today I'm going to do a quick COVID overview, unfortunately, and some year level information and a couple of notices, before in the coming days I have some brief episodes that we're also going to broadcast about the topics you can see there on the screen, and I hope that that will get us off to a great start for this school year. Firstly, thank you for 2021. I had a little bit of an earlier finish as I had to take some leave to spend some time with my family. And I'd like to thank those staff and the student leaders who did a great job whilst unfortunately I had to be away. We had great senior secondary results, particularly in our ATAR students, but also the number of VET certificates and people already getting positions in the tertiary and work pathways that they choose, and we're happily receiving that news. A couple of scholarships, so congratulations to last year's Year 12s, all the teachers that worked with them, and we wish you well in your journey this year. Also, we're continuing to, I guess, have a good level of achievement in those students passing in all subjects across the board, better than the state average and better than the region. So good on you, well done, keep up the hard work, and of course we're continually looking at ways that we can learn together and continue to be even better. Also, today, a big welcome to our new students. We've got up to 22 new students starting in Year 10, so it's not just our Year 7s who've come from primary school, many new students coming from across the state and interstate. Please make them very, very welcome. Take some time to get to know them and help them get settled in, and we look forward to, I guess, getting to know them better in the coming weeks. So learning together to achieve our best, of course, is our driving vision. And that means we are here to acknowledge that we don't know everything, we're not perfect, we make mistakes, but we're here to learn. That's our business, that's our focus, and we need to have a little bit of high expectations and pushing on to make sure that we do achieve our best. We're a college of high expectations, so we are striving for our best. So please take upon this vision for this year again, and work with those around you to achieve your best. Unfortunately, I do have to outline some COVID information for the weeks ahead. It is going to perhaps be a disruptive term, perhaps not. Perhaps we're over the worst and it's now going to be slowly returning to normal. We will have to wait and see. But we do have to be diligent about following some expectations to keep everybody safe. And we do have to be flexible because things may, of course, keep changing. So please read your communication. You'll be getting emails from year level deputy principals, and also from our college exec team. There's information on Facebook, so please just continue to read that and stay up to date. Also stay connected, make sure that your Canvas is working, your Outlook's working, and you have no technology issues, because that will keep the learning going throughout what is likely to be quite a short term. And of course, most importantly, look after yourself and each other. Take that time to make sure that you are checking in on your well-being. If you're feeling anxious or you are certainly having flu-like symptoms, make sure you do something about it. There's people here you can talk to. I'm going to talk about anxiety in the coming episodes. And of course, if you spot the signs in your friends, also do something about it. Talk to them, talk to community leaders, talk to our well-being team, and let's look after each other and get through this. In terms of the nitty-gritty for COVID, if you are sick, you do need to stay at home, and if you are I guess, having those flu-like symptoms, you need to go and get tested, and you'll be given prioritised testing at health clinics, and if your test is negative and you're feeling better, by all means come back. Of course, if it's positive, then you need to follow the Queensland Health quarantine and isolation requirements. If you become symptomatic at school, go to sick bay, please, as always. That doesn't change. If you've got those flu-like symptoms, you will be isolated in a safe place, and your parents or carers will be contacted and asked to collect you. Or if they are those flu-like symptoms and they come and collect you, then you'll be issued with a rapid antigen test, a RAT, for which you can then take home and administer that test. If the test is negative, you can come back as soon as you feel better. If the test is positive, then again you need to follow those isolation expectations from Queensland Health. Once you've been isolated and you've had 7 days, if you do go through this, then you are able to return after 7 days, and you're not required to have a second test. In the 4 weeks after any test, you can read the information there. You're less likely to get COVID again, but after 4 weeks you might. If someone in your house gets COVID, you're not considered a close contact after you've been positive, and you do not need to get tested. If you're confused about any of this, talk to your year level deputy principals, ring the front office, and we will help work it out, because there's a lot to know. In terms of close contacts, you are a close contact if someone in your house is positive. All right, so they're people living with you. If this is the case, you do need to stay at home and notify the absence line of this circumstance. You won't be penalised for your absence, and it will be explained. All right, you can continue to access the learning materials online at home, and of course there's also that department's learning at home resources whilst you're there. Face masks. Now, we do all have to make sure that we wear our face masks. Everybody in high school, staff and students, are expected to wear a face mask. And there are a couple of exceptions when you can take it off. There are some people that have a special exemption. If you have an exemption, there's a list discreetly for teachers just to refer to make sure that we've gone through a little bit of a process. And if you're not on that list, or you haven't gone through that process, please contact your year level deputy principal and we can do so. Everybody else needs to wear their mask all the time, except for if you are seated in your classroom or lunch and you can socially distance. So in your classroom, you should be trying to space out a bit, make sure you're keeping about 1.5 metres or more apart from each other. And once you're seated and you're ready for learning, you can take your mask off. Of course, if you're up and moving around the room, you do need to put your mask back on. Unfortunately, for this term, all school camps, assemblies and large gatherings are formally suspended. School sport will continue, and there will be some camps that are related to assessment that will be allowed to continue. So just talk to your teachers about particular camps and excursions, and they'll let you know what the case for that particular activity is. I'd now quickly like to go through the year level team so you can get started this year, and if you have questions and things to resolve this week, please see these people. There are quite a lot of changes. The biggest change is that we've restructured our community leader team again, and this time we're really trying to make small teams for every year level. And that means the community leaders, there's 2 in each year level, and they have 2 communities each. So year 7, you can see on the screen here, is a good example. Ms. Klukas is the deputy principal. Ms. Randall is the head of department. That will support her. Mr. Froud looks after Bradman and Freeman classes, and Ms. Bilson will be looking at Rafter and O'Neill. All right, those people will introduce themselves to you at a year level assembly this week, and you can ask them any questions at any time by emailing them or talking to them at assembly. All right, the year 8 team then is on the screen there. Miss Worthington is our deputy principal. Miss Bennett is the head of department. Miss Day is the community leader together with Mr. West. For year 9, Mr. Caruso is the deputy. Miss Bennett is also looking after that as the year 9 head of department. And Mr. Harrison and Mr. Gagan are the community leaders. For your year 10, Mr. Prestwidge is the deputy principal. Miss Ernst is your head of department. And Mrs. Waters and Mr. Kurd are your community leaders. Year 11 and 12, you're quite independent and autonomous by now, so you've got a slightly different structure. You've got Miss Wicks as your deputy principal and the 2 heads of department, Mr. Lawrence and Miss Hart. So Miss Hart will do that place of the community leaders, and Mr. Lawrence will do the normal role that you're probably already familiar with around PTS and also attendance and making sure everybody's in the right learning pathways. So a couple of notices before we wrap up for today. Firstly, if you've got any subject gaps in your timetable, if you've got a class in the time slot for, particularly today, go to that class. If there's a gap, then please come to the office in that session, or come to the office in your first available breaks. And of course, that starts at lunchtime today, and we'll resolve those. There's been a few technical glitches in the rollover, and we're seeking to resolve those as quickly as possible. All subject changes are due this Friday, the 11th of February, so make sure that if you do want to change a subject that you're already in, please make an appointment to see Mr. Prestridge or Miss Wicks, depending on which year level you're in. And just remember also, we're calling this week 3. For some of you, it's week 2. For some of you, it's week 1. For staff, it's week 4. But we're following the normal Queensland calendar that this is week 3 and we're finishing week 10, and it's considered a 10-week term. All right, finally, it is O week. We've had to condense the program because we were away the last couple of weeks. So we won't have any of those external presenters that we normally do, like High Resolve. But please make sure you spend time this week to get off to a good start, get to know your teachers, get to know your fellow peers, your students in your class, and then, of course, launch into the content. But just take some time, ask some questions, introduce yourself, say hello, and get off to a good start. So thank you very, very much. I hope you have a great day and a great week. I'll see you next episode. Thank you. Bye-bye.